Ollie's excited. It's time to get back to work. I believe Brian's coming in a little bit, and need to start looking at this. Behind the scenes, I have been designing an adapter plate. I don't remember if we've talked about it. Okay, but let's go through this history. Originally, this is what was in that location, and all the wiring came in. It was a power distribution point and a bunch of circuit breakers. Well, we're going to this completely encapsulated digital solution here. Everything that did and everything and more is in this nice heavy little box. Well, he's got this all painted. I really don't like drilling holes and stuff if I don't have to. So there's an existing hole here and here that were for that box. So I started thinking, well, what can we do? We cut up a bunch of cardboard and kind of went through figuring it all out, you know, because that's what cardstock's for. And then when I finally had a design, I thought, that's, in fact, here those, a couple of those are. In the beginning, I thought I was going to make it really trim, and then I started looking at following that line. Well, as this went, and this is just draft board, you can see this was cut 3. This is cut number 5. That's cut 4. So if I bring number 5 in here, which I literally just took off the laser like 10 minutes ago, we can slide that in place. Now slide that screw down in, and I think the weird shape is starting to make sense now. We're going to cut this out of probably 3/8 inch thick aluminum, and we can either anodize it or polish it, and then you can see this will be the tapped points for the screws for that box. So that box sits here. In fact, I'll grab it in a second. But see, decided to follow that weird little shape that brace has, so that when we place, well, in fact, I can do it right here where it's easier to see. When we place this down, and I've got too much weight going on here, you can see all the holes line up nice right there. We've got those 2 mount points, which these will actually be threaded, and well, these will also be threaded, so those will be short bolts coming from underneath. So they'll probably be panhead bolts coming from underneath into it, and these will be little bolts going down and holding that on there. So the whole plate and computer assembly come off all at once. But by following the shape of this, it kind of makes it look like it belongs. So I'm pretty happy with the shape now. We'll find out what Brian thinks of it and go from there. The other thing, I don't know what they're intending to do today. Maybe he's got help for hanging the wheel, because I don't know anything about any of that. But I think I'm going to pull this and change our ignition timing over to this little kit he bought. You know, that's one of my goals, is get this kit installed. So somewhere around here is a manual. I'll go through it. But yeah, like it always is around here, 50 projects at a time. Gotta keep life interesting. Keep ShopDog in the pretzels. Okay, so just got the headlight back together and back on. That was fun. Gonna start figuring out where all that's gonna run. I'm also thinking about putting some sleeve over this just to protect it from the weather a little. We'll take a look at that. Like I said, I will address this shortly. I just haven't had time. The headlight was sitting on top, and I'm like, ooh, let's get that back on the bike. So, yeah, ShopDog's still just sitting here waiting for his pretzel. All right, it says to remove the outer and inner covers, so let's do that. ShopDog is greeting Brian, and we're playing a little show and tell. He found exactly what he wanted. Look at that fancy little cover. Has a spot for a key. The coil mounts inside like that, you know, on those posts. Through bolts into here, nuts on the back, and instead of those normal looking wires, he got himself some real fancy ones. So look at all that fanciness. Remember, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's just a machine. This has got to be our lock plate here. So this must have been where their points used to be. So he's got this crane system. He doesn't know anything about it, no reliability issues or anything, but it's going to go away. As soon as I figure out how to pull it, it looks like I can probably slide this housing now that I've got it off. Okay, this is basically the same thing we're replacing it with. See, it's two little Hall effect sensors, two little shutter wheels. So let me get all that marked, and it was literally just in the middle. You know, nobody timed it or anything, so we'll get that all marked up. Change, well, we'll make sure if we even need to change. They might be the exact same wheel because it did reference in the manual that it's based on a Harley part. So I will verify that that's the same or not. I'm a big fan of crane over the years, but I gotta tell you, this is made a little nicer. It's a nice cast piece. This is just some pop riveted aluminum. Worked just fine, but that sure looks nice. Okay, remembering I don't know anything about motorbikes. Turns out newer Harleys have a system called VOES, which is vacuum operated electrical switch in the intake manifold that helps with mileage and whatnot. Well, we don't have that. This bike is an older engine. It's 96 cc's, he believes. So we chose a curve, a RPM limit of 6,000 should be fine. You know, that's what he had before. So yeah, I think I'm ready to try to stick this in there now. Okay, she fits. Let's get her bolted up. Okay, so now that's all back on. And we ran the wire down its little wire channel here. And this comes around, obviously, to our ignition, which will be up here. I've got to decide how I want to route it. I'd like to look at a few bikes if I can and see where people prefer routing that. Brian's been working on building up this wheel and axle assembly and discovered he must have not liked the look of his old wheel bearings, and now he's got to go buy some. So we were just going through, figured out, you know, he's got his washers for his offsets. He's got a 3/4 shaft. We just went over that, but no bearings. So another thing he's got to go get, because these projects always go this way. Okay, so he's looking up the parts he needs. I came up with this cute little rubber dipped clamp to go here, and that'll keep that out of there. We did finally get this oil return line on. These are snug, so things are moving along. Okay, Shop Dog just went in to get his nap, so Mommy called down for him, and we're trying to decide if this bike needs front turn signals and what's available that would clamp to either this tube here, or second best is the handlebars, but nobody likes that option. So he's taking a look, seeing what's available. Okay, so I've got more info. The chroming for these will be hopefully May, so we're probably talking the end of July. You know, just based on every chromer I've ever dealt with. Never known them to ever do anything on time. So still got to work all this out. I don't know what all these tube points are. This is ridiculous. We'll get caps. Did get this relaxed. We turned this fitting a little bit, cut the goofy end off, and now it doesn't pinch. Pretty happy with that. We've got more of these guys on order. So at this point, because he doesn't have the bearings and a few other things, he's kind of at a natural stopping point. So don't know how much more is going to get done yet today. Okay, so check this out. Now I've got two different ones in there because we're trying to decide what length, but that works slick and gives us a key position. That's going to look really nice. And with that, Brian feels like he's accomplished a thing or two, about a thing or two. So these are not permanent. We're going to use them for now, but you can see the chrome is all goofy and they're old. So he'll get new ones later once he knows what his ride height needs to be. He was thinking about getting something set up another ½ inch or even an inch higher than these anyway. So let's wait till the bike's back together. It's been apart for a minute, so it's been a little while. So yeah, but these will help us as far as getting everything else set up. We ordered more clamps. He's looking into a few things. He's got a order for good old Dennis Kirk on a few things he wants. that we've got to work out so that he can get the wheel mounted. And once the wheel and all the gearing and stuff is mounted and the clutch is mounted, then it becomes more my problem. And all of this has to come apart because we're going to add turn signals just to make sure he's compliant in all 50 states. Because, you know, rules are rules. And he didn't like his old license plate mount, so he does have one of those on order as well. And should look pretty nice. Integrates the brake light. So yeah, we're making some progress considering none of us are motorcycle mechanics. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.